Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be giving a demonstration on how to use the web-based browser Piskel to create some animations for your video game. Now, before we start, you want to know kind of a range of background, character, and item power-ups compositions. So when you're uploading your work, you know what size to put it because it's going to not be within most likely the range that we want here. So I'm going to start by doing a power up or item. And it's going to be somewhere from 32 to about like 120. So first things first, go to Piskel, log in using your Gmail account, and then click Create Sprite. Now, if you look carefully, there's a lot of items over here in your toolbar. There is a canvas or an area to work in, and there's some more advanced settings and elements here. What I want you to do is come down to the bottom right where it says Import, click Browse Images, and find the images that you've already drawn and photographed. Okay, here's my power up that I quote unquote drew. You're going to be changing this again to 32, and it automatically resizes to those proportions, and click Import and OK. You can see my power up, which is a sword, has become pixelated. What I want you to do is come over here to the color swatch tool and swap the black for the transparency so you can delete the negative space. You can also flip this to larger, or you can simply just come over here to the paint all pixels of the same color and click here, and it automatically adjusts your work to that. You could also go through and kind of select these a little bit more individually just to remove those things, because apparently these are just slight variations in color. Once you're done removing all the negative space in the background, you can add some effects or adjustments to this to make it an animation. So sometimes in a video game, you have things that pulse or move up and down. So if I wanted to duplicate this animation or this same thing that's this same image here, I can go over to my frames on this side and click duplicate this frame. You notice it hasn't changed yet. It hasn't changed yet. But if I click here on this move icon and move it down one, this is what it will look like within this 2-frame rate. I can have it move more as well if I want to duplicate it again and have it change however I want. So maybe I want it to go up and down like such, and it has like a little bit more of an effect here. You can also add color to it if you want. Like you could, for example, find a color that you want by going into here, selecting whatever one you wanted, and then adding a color tool to it, not that fat, a color tool to it, to each one of the animations, and it creates kind of an illusion of it pulsating or glowing here. And that again is just 3 frames that create a pretty cool animation. Okay, now let's talk about the character. Your character is probably going to be a little bit more complex. Again, go to Import, click Browse Images, and click on your image that you've drawn. For your character as well, you want it to be somewhere between 32 and 120. So I'm going to click Import here, push OK, and you can see it's converted it again to a more pixelated image. Do the same thing you did before, delete all the background, or just select here. Don't do that. Select here and delete what you don't need from your background. Once you've deleted all the things in the background, you're ready to probably create your animation. Again, a simple animation, going to the frame where you can duplicate this image. Kind of do what we did last time and grab the move tool and just kind of move this like down, for example. Now he's kind of hopping or pulsating. Maybe I want to duplicate this again and make it move a little bit higher, so it's a little bit more of an animation here. It's really up to you what you do, okay? Now, I would argue that doesn't look great, hopping back and forth like that. So what I'm going to suggest you do is separate components of this character to make it look a little bit more realistic for your animation. So what you're going to do is you are going to be adding a new layer. Again, layers are when some things are in front of other things. So layer 1 is my character. Layer 2 is nothing. You can tell that because you see nothing here and it's faded here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use this lasso selection tool to grab just the top half of my character. I'm essentially splitting him in half. Once you have him selected, you're going to be cutting by hitting Control X and removing your character, and then go to the other layer where you know nothing is there. You can see there's nothing there because when I look here, there's nothing there, and it's faded here. And then hitting Control V. Now, it doesn't appear like anything changed, but really, this is on one layer, and this is on another layer. And what that allows us to adjust this. So now what I can do is duplicate this frame, and then I can move my person up or down a little bit to get kind of like a swaying motion. So now it looks a little bit more realistic with what I want them to do. Now you can do all types of small adjustments with this if you want. You can toggle through the speed as well if you want it to go really slow or really, really, really fast. So again, you can kind of play around with the frame rates to create what you want on here. So play around with that and explore some of those different features. Next, I'm going to be demonstrating how to use the environment. You'll notice that the power-up and the character are much smaller and the background is much larger, so you can potentially put your character in this background and make a functional video game, although that might not be your end result. So you'll notice that the range is 160 to 480. So I'm going to try this 160 mark. So go back to Piskel, create a new sprite, and import your background now. So I'm going to go to Browse Images and find the background that I quote-unquote drew. Now you know this is a lot bigger than what I need, so I'm going to change it to 160. And then those proportions will be consistent, and click Import and OK. Now I have a pixelated image here. Now what you're going to do is try to add subtle animations or changes here. You can have movements in the grass, you can have the trees swaying, you can have clouds moving. So there's a lot of things that you could do. So let's say you want to have a cloud or an image on here move. So you could start by using images that are already there, or you can just draw a new image or a new cloud. A lot of times what I do to try to make things look cohesive is take the pen or color picker tool and select a color that's in here, automatically turns it to that color. Add a layer, and then I'm going to be drawing my cloud on here. Okay, so there's my cloud. Okay, next I'm going to be duplicating this frame, and then I'm going to be grabbing my hand and moving this to the right one frame. And you notice when I look at this, it's wiggling. Now I'm going to be doing that same thing again, duplicate it and move it one more to the right, and it's moving further. Duplicate it again and move it one more, and it's going further. You can see it's repeating. If you want it to move faster, again, you can have it move faster. Then I would change all these, and now it's moving across a little bit faster. And again, you can adjust this as well to change that speed. Other things you can do are add again, another layer and pull out some of the different grasses in here. So I'm going to go here to some of these grasses here, and I use my pen tool and I make some things appear like they're swaying. I'm doing this really quick, so I want you to make yours a little bit better. But I have this on this layer, and then I can add other examples of that throughout, or move those things so they look like they're swaying. So now when I look at this animation, you can kind of see that the cloud is moving and the grass is moving here. Okay, let me open up a preview pop-up and we'll zoom in so you can see it a little bit higher quality. So you can see that moving. Now obviously that is very crude and I want you to take your time on that, but that's approximately how you're going to create that landscape and have some motion in there. So again, I've shown you how to do a power-up or a weapon. I've showed you how to do a character animation, and I showed you how to create an environment. So keep that in mind as you're working on your Piskel project and have fun.